And our guest in this segment is our old friend Colin Berg with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife. Colin, good to have you, buddy.
Good to be back.
Good to have you here. A lot of things happened, and we're going to get to some of them. But first, we want to talk about the photo contest.
Yes.
That's right off the top. Is it that time of year?
It's that time of year. It's already that time of year. April 15th is the deadline. Something else deadline is April 15th.
I won't talk about it.
We won't talk about that, but for our photo contest for our magazine, if folks want to enter it, they can send those in. They can go to our website, wildlifedepartment.com. And
you've got one where they can see
yeah,
that.
and search Readers Photo Contest, and you can get your photo.
Turn it over to that camera there.
Possibly into our magazine, and that's what we're known for. You know, the back picture here. Look at this beautiful cardinal that's on the back. Just some awesome
back this way,
pictures that we have in our magazine, and we do an issue each year that are actually photos that are submitted by readers or fans of the magazine.
Amateur people, photographers that shoot these.
And it's incredible. You know, we got beautiful scenery across the state, and we'll have photos that come in all the way from the Panhandle, and also all the way down to southeast Oklahoma and the swamps that we have. You know, we've got so many different habitat types and so many different species of wildlife, and it's just beautiful to see all the things that we have here in the state.
You know, I have a very close friend who's a docent with the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve, and he puts out a newsletter about once a month with photos that he's taken. I'm telling you what, it'll stop your heart.
Yeah.
Some of the things he's seen out there, flowers, the birds, the buffalo.
Probably got some really nice ones today with the fog that was out there that we had.
Wouldn't you love to have been there?
Yeah.
Golly. Well, we have, let's see, do we have any video of the photos?
I don't think we've got any video of the different photos.
This is just to show you how to submit them, easier than ever to enter. Best of all entries will be published in the July-August deadline, the 15th, as we said. Short entry form, or go to ODWC website and click Outdoor Oklahoma.
Yep. Sounds
easy enough. I'm gonna send you some of his work.
Yeah.
And it's a passion for him. He just loves to get out. You know, sometimes you have the buffalo in the background, and then he'll just dip the camera down just a little to show maybe a red-winged blackbird.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous.
It's awesome.
We have a paddlefish we're going to share with you. This is not a record paddlefish, is it?
The one that we're getting ready to see, the 121 pounder. This one on the video here, no, this isn't a record. This is a smaller paddlefish, but this is the time of year when people come to Oklahoma from all over the United States now to go snagging for paddlefish. Our Paddlefish Research Center, we're actually up by Miami, where we'll actually take somebody's fish and clean it for them and give them the fillets back, opens up March 1st and all the way through the 30th of April is when it'll be open. And anglers now, they're allowed 2 fish a year. You've got to have a free permit to fish for them on top of your general fishing license. It's almost just like checking in a deer or a turkey. You have to check it in online no matter what. Once you've harvested that fish, let us know where it came from, and just general information about the fish. And like I said, you're allowed 2 per year. They're a prehistoric fish. They've looked like this for...
That's what I was going to say. They're pretty much prehistoric. Aren't they in the catfish family?
Yeah, yep, they are. They're totally cartilaginous type fish, and they feed on plankton. They don't feed on other fish. They just feed on plankton. If they had some video of them open up, their mouth is real wide, and they just swim through the water with their mouths open. The money that we use, we take the females and use the eggs, turn them into caviar, and then the department sells that caviar on the free market, and we use the money that's generated from the sales to do things like this right here, doing research. And they're actually putting a ban on this fish where if you catch that fish, they want you to report it, paddlefishbans.com, to let us know where you caught it at. If you release it also, we'd like to know if you caught it and released the fish so that they know where the fish is moving, and just general information about those fish. You know, Oklahoma, like I said, is becoming world renowned for our paddle fishing opportunities here in the state. And what we were talking about at the beginning was a gentleman caught 121 pounder recently up at Grand Lake. It's not a state record.
Not a state, yeah.
But it's going to be the lake record for Grand Lake. It's only about 6 pounds off the state record, so it was real close. And that guy, if you read his story, he'd actually been coming down for several years from Minnesota, catfishing and fishing for paddlefish, and recently retired, now lives on Grand Lake. And it was a goal of his to catch a 100+ pound paddlefish.
Well, he's got his, he met
got
it,
it
he
now.
met his, and exceeded his goal.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, we're building up quite a natural menu, if you will. Rattlesnake, you know, paddlefish,
Paddlefish, that's right.
caviar.
Yep. Paddlefish are, a lot of people will ask, how do you prepare that fish? Well, the best way that I've had it is either cut in small chunks and cubed up and fried, or if you leave it in the fillets, smoking it just like salmon. It is really good.
Well,
when
might
you
I
cook it on the
suggest,
smoker.
paddlefish steaks.
Yeah, I've never had them that way.
They're good. Trust me.
I'll have to try 'em.
Been there, done that.
Have to try 'em.
You've got a bass record for us, don't you?
Yeah, this time of month of the year, March, we've got a top 20 list of largemouth bass that we keep at the agency. And the largest fish that's been caught, largemouth bass, 14 pounds, 13.7 ounces,
Golly.
was caught in March. Of the 20 top largemouth bass ever caught in Oklahoma, certified in Oklahoma, they were caught in March. So if you want to potentially catch a state record or a fish over 12 pounds in general, largemouth bass, this is the month to be out there fishing for largemouth bass.
That is a
They're
beautiful,
awesome fish
beautiful
to catch, and you know, the biggest fish, largemouth I've ever caught is about 9 pounds. A 12 pounder, 14 pounder would just be incredible to catch.
Where was it caught?
It was down at Cedar Lake, down in southeast Oklahoma, small lake. And it's actually produced 2 of the most recent state
And you and I
records.
both know that there are larger ones out there.
Oh yeah. You just got to get out there and catch them.
Oh, not a problem. Is the boss in? What is that?
That is a tire reef. It's used around a lot of times fishing docks and piers and marinas to protect them when the water gets to rolling pretty good. That tire reef will slow the water down, the waves before they get to the actual pier there. So.
Oh, look. Oh,
And it's a good place to fish.
look. Where do I need to be right now? Just ask me.
You need to be on the water
On the
right
water,
now,
my friend.
fishing for largemouth bass. This
Oh,
is, like I said, this is the
God.
time of year to do it, and my son is chomping at the bit to get out there. We just got to go around between our baseball tournaments and things like most families have to, but get out there and enjoy
was
it.
that record bass caught on?
I don't know what the state record bass was caught on. It's in our regulations, but I didn't study up on that before I came in. So
Figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Get back to me. I want to ask you about a couple of things, a little controversial. Maybe you can shed some light on it. First of all, you know I fish for trout. I love to go after them. They just tremble when they know I'm coming. I read an article in the Tulsa paper recently that had to do with a dam on the lower Illinois River. And they'd fixed the dam, and that proved to be a problem for people that wanted to fish for trout. What's the story?
Yeah,
on that?
there's of all of our lakes, there's water allocation that the Corps of Engineers, they allocate that water for hydropower, recreation, and things of that sort, water use. And the department doesn't have any water that's given to the agency. That dam that you're talking about, below 10 Killer, had a leak in it for years, and it had enough water coming through it that it helped sustain the trout population. Well, they've fixed it, and now there's not the water coming through, and now the concern is during certain times of the year, when it was a year-round trout fishery, that without the water flowing through and the authorization to get water flowing through, that it can impact the trout and actually, you know, the water warm up too much for their survival. So it's something that's of a concern, particularly trout anglers that have gone to that area for years. Something that we as an agency are trying to work with the federal agency, Corps of Engineers and others on trying to figure out, and the hydropower companies to figure out a
and
way to keep it
folks
going.
may not realize it, but the tourism dollars that are spent there on these trout streams run into the millions.
Yeah.
So this is not a small industry we're dealing with.
Exactly.
The other thing is, has to do with Spavinaw Creek. Now, Spavinaw Creek runs out of Arkansas, and natural habitat for the Neosho smallmouth bass.
Correct.
And it's the last of the pristine creeks flowing in the Arkansas area. I mean, in the Oklahoma area. Now there's a move afoot, and in fact, they're doing it, launching a study that'll, I think, run for a year or two, to see what impact it will have if they introduce trout into.
Right. There's some folks that are interested in introducing trout into that stream system, and before anything like that can ever happen, our agency does research, and we work with OSU, usually the Cooperative Extension Center. Jim Burrows is our regional fisheries supervisor that's in charge of our streams program, and he's the guy to contact if folks would like more information about that research project and what's going on with it. But,
that's good to know.
yeah.
Finally, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You know about the budget hole that we're all living
Yeah.
under and the
Yeah.
problems it's caused. There is a little fellow over in Broken Arrow who's introduced legislation to rework the law so that when you ask who would be in charge of all the wildlife in Oklahoma, as well as the fish, it would say God Almighty, not game and fish. That's known in some circles as feel-good legislation. What's that all about?
You'd have to ask Mr. Dam as far as what the legislation was wanting behind it. You know, our agency's been around since 1915. It was originally started back in 1907, I believe, and then it was disbanded for a few years. Came back in 1915, and our mission is management of fish and wildlife species for people of Oklahoma.
So they'll be here in the future.
They'll be here in the future, and that's what our agency concentrates on. In the original years and years, it was the first few years, there's a lot of law enforcement because wildlife species were decimated.
I'm sorry, Colin, we're out of time.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
I didn't mention he's running for Congress. That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.